On today's show, we're going to be discussing a lot of stuff, but first let's get started with Lasandro Martinez going to Manchester United has now made Arsenal move quickly onto the Oleksandr Zinchenko situation. It looks like Arsenal are looking to reunite Gabriel Jesus and Mikel Arteta with Oleksandr Zinchenko for a potential £35 million move. Now, shock transfer. Arsenal youngster will be moving to Chelsea. Yes, Omari Hutchinson will be moving to Chelsea. And Bukayo Saka will potentially be getting a new deal before the new season, hopefully. News with Lucas Paqueta not being the main target this window. And news also coming out that Leicester will lower their valuation for Youri Tielemans. Also, Pepe rumors circulating and him hinting that he might be interested in staying at Arsenal past this summer. And Edmond Tapsoba has been now linked to Arsenal once more. Let's get this show started, ladies and gentlemen. Bang. Yes, people. How's everyone doing? Tyreek should be joining us very, very soon, but I got the wonderful Colleen here. As always, big up to Colleen. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good times. It's very hot, as everyone can tell in the summertime. I don't know what's going on with the AC. Oh, the new kit. You didn't see it?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I got it for free, actually. My guy AB on Twitter did something where he's like, I'm giving out a kit, and then he gave it to me. I was like, fucking hell, I never win anything. So I was like, I got a new kit out of it. I was pretty happy. But I'm definitely going to be doing a giveaway for a kit throughout the season at some point. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button right now. Check out Colleen on Twitter if you want to, or do you promote your Instagram, whatever you promote. I think that's your name on both apps, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. You can find her there. So let's get this show started. We got a lot to talk about, Colleen. There's Zinchenko news. There's Bukayo Saka news. There is news about Lucas Paqueta, news about Nicolas Pepe. But there's nowhere else to start but the Zinchenko news. Am I wrong?
Yeah, we start with Zinny.
When it comes to, what do you call him?
Zinny. That's when no one's saying Zinchenko throughout the course of the season, it'll be Zinny at some point. That's what I've started calling him anyway, Zinny.
Oh wow, we already have nicknames for him. I didn't know we had him on a nickname basis already. This is great. So yeah, let's get this show started. Big up to everyone in the chat. We're gonna be reading the comments in the chat throughout the show also. But first things first, we're gonna get onto the Zinchenko news. If you don't know, the Daily Mail were the first outlet to report this morning. I woke up actually I didn't wake up. I didn't go to sleep. I was up this morning and I seen that there was some stuff about the Daily Mail reporting that Zinchenko to Arsenal is very close or potentially could be done. The night prior, we heard reports that Zinchenko to Arsenal was potentially on the cards, and this deal was very close to happening. So things escalated quite quickly, if you ask me. So this morning, the reports came out about 19 hours ago. What was this? 10 a.m. The Zinchenko to Arsenal. Oh, Tyreek's in the house. Big up, Tyreek, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Sorry I'm late. Big up yourself. Nice seeing you again, Colleen.
Yeah. No worries, man. This is like a reunion. We haven't had you on in a while. So yeah, Man City are asking for around 35 million for Zinchenko, and the Daily Mail were the first outlet to report it. They're saying Arsenal are in talks over a deal for Manchester City's Oleksandr Zinchenko, and then according to Athletic, that was the night prior. And then later on, you hear reports that Zinchenko is now expected to be an Arsenal player in the next few days. All that needs to happen is the valuation to be met. There's even further reports saying that Pep Guardiola is a big reason why this deal is going to be happening. Pep Guardiola cannot guarantee him game time, and he's going to allow him to fulfill his wishes to move on. Also, if you haven't seen, Fabrizio Romano has even spoken about it, but he didn't speak about it directly. He spoke about it, the fact that the move that Chelsea wanted Nathan Ake, once that went down the drain, you've seen that it escalated quickly for Zinchenko to Arsenal, because Nathan Ake and Zinchenko leaving would have been a big blow. But the fact that one of them might end up staying and the other one ends up leaving makes a lot of sense for the club. So after Chelsea could not agree terms with Man City over the move for Zinchenko, ended up why did I say Zinchenko? And Nathan Ake ended up giving us and opening the door for us to get Zinchenko in. And now that Zinchenko is heavily linked to Arsenal, and he will be around, we know the price is going to be around 35 million. How you guys feeling? What do you guys think about it? And just what's the mood? Because at this point, the deal is close. The deal is close to getting done. And Arteta will get another player who he's familiar with. David Ornstein has already confirmed this. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to start with you, Colleen. How do you feel about your boy Vinny or Zinny? What do you call him?
Zinny. I mean, I feel like this is not like something that's out of the blue, like maybe some of our other signings like Vieira. There was talk around Zinchenko way before the transfer window opened. And I'm a little bit surprised that this wasn't earlier and we kind of focused a lot on Martinez, to be honest with you. If that was the plan in terms of playing Martinez at left back if we did get him, because obviously he does play a lot at centre back. But anyway, with Zinny, I think that it's a great signing, to be fair. He's worked with Arteta. He's very versatile, which is very key for an Arteta type player. Can be in midfield, can be on the left back, and especially with the way Tierney is not very much available for us since he's joined, unfortunately, and with the way our midfield has been, and if it stays the way it is with no other signings coming in, obviously we're hearing that's not the case, but as of now, it just gives us so many more options and a reliable player that Arteta can trust, obviously, because he's worked with him before.
Boom. What about yourself, Tyreek? How are you feeling, man?
I think Colleen's hit literally all the points in terms of the positives in terms of him. I wouldn't say I'm excited about this signing, and that's probably because we've seen him in the Premier League and we kind of know what we're going to get with him. And when you're getting a player outside of the Premier League that we're not used to seeing, so when we was linked with Lasandro, there's that mystery about him, whereas with Zinchenko, we know what we're going to get. We know the ceiling and we know the kind of floor level, which I think the floor level is not very low, which is a good thing, where we can see the fluctuation with Nuno Tavares and how good he can be and how bad. And the same goes for Cedric on the right side. So that's a good point with Zinchenko, that we're going to have a good, consistent base level. But when I'm also looking at Zinchenko, I see the defensive flaws when he comes in. I don't think he's as strong as Tierney, but I wouldn't say it's completely different, but because Manchester City dominate so much possession and they play so high, he's under a threat a little bit more if there is some attacking players out on that right, out that wide right. And people talking about that game against West Ham, against Jared Bowen, who was excellent in that game, and he caused them a lot of trouble defensively. So I'm looking at that and I'm saying, okay, I understand. But then I also look at the strengths that he has, the amount of passes that he makes, and he plays more of that inverted left back, which will help if we do have Tomiyasu and Tierney out, for example. So that Cedric is someone who usually likes to be wide and overlap in those spaces. And he's someone that takes that central position where we see Arteta play Granit Xhaka at left back. That's what he wants from him. And he wants him to control the ball and dominate possession in those areas. So it's a good signing. I think the price makes it good. We're getting a Premier League proven player in that sense for 35.
Some people say 35 mil is too much.
Nah, when you're buying from the Premier League, this is what it is. Look, Nico Williams is just going. I've seen this about on Twitter today. Nico Williams has gone to Nottingham Forest for 17 million. He's not a Premier League proven player just because he's come from Liverpool. Zinchenko, I think he is a Premier League proven player. If he was a starter week in, week out, I'd say he'd still even be a top 10 Premier League player in that sense. Not in his position, but in terms of the club that he could play for. You could see him at a Wolves, a Brighton, a team like that. He wouldn't go amiss there. So I think, and plus you're buying from the champions who don't need to sell. We've seen that with Nathan Ake. I don't think Nathan Ake was worth 45, but if they're not going to get him, sweet, we'll keep him. That's how they approach things. So I think he's worth it for that price.
Boom. People in the chat, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with Tyreek? Do you think he is worth the 35 mil that is being reported? Some Man City fans are saying they're actually upset that we're taking Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus. They feel like, why are they strengthening other teams in the Premier League so much? They would rather keep Zinchenko. And so when you have Arsenal fans sticking up their nose to it, and Man City fans are telling me, I don't know why we're even selling him, I want to keep him, makes me even say even more that he's such a great player. And let me show you this, guys. Colleen and Tyreek, just check this out quickly. This is Granit Xhaka and Zinchenko's like heat maps and where they potentially could play last season. So as you can see, he would not only be a left back cover, he could be that 8 in the midfield, because our 8 does cover that left back spot sometimes also. So this is another potential place where he could play in the team. Just shows you how versatile he is. And he does remind me of Lasandro Martinez in the sense that Martinez could play in so many positions. It does make sense. The moment that Martinez deal ends, we start looking at a player who can play in that left midfield also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as it doesn't end there, in terms of, that's the problem with these versatility players. They're great, but it's whether, I'm not saying the club are doing this because it's still early on, we don't really know what's happening, but I don't want this to be someone who is both our left back and a midfield option. As in, instead of bringing someone else in for the midfield. So that's why I don't want to happen. So as long as that doesn't happen, it's a great signing, especially now with the 5 sub rule and the amount of competitions when the games are going to be in now, and how our squad isn't really as fit as it probably could be in terms of our injury record in those kind of midfield and left back positions.
Okay, do you want to see how he also compares to our other left backs? In the sense, I've seen
this. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys seen this, but like, he actually has played less games. Up the stats have shown that he's played less minutes, conceded less goals, of course, in a better team, had more successful tackles, more interceptions, created more chances, and has had more successful dribbles than all our players. I know these might be specific stats that he might just be better at. There might be other stats where he's not as good as them, but this shows that he's up there and probably would come in as maybe our best left back. Who knows? What do you guys think?
All we've wanted is you go, Colleen. Go on. All right.
No.
All we've wanted is competition for Tierney in that space, because we know that we can't rely on him. So we was asking for someone to be not just back up anymore. We want someone we can rely and trust on and compete with him, which, we think Tierney, if he's going to struggle with injuries for the rest of his career, he's someone that's going to definitely need rotation as well, if we're going to managing this player's minutes. And then if you look at that, Zinchenko, what really surprised me there was his tackle success. When I look at that and his interceptions as well, defensively, I was shocked, to be honest, because Manchester City play when they lose the ball, very aggressive and winning it back. I know that's how they play. And you have to show a level of intelligence defensively and awareness to be able to win that amount of tackles, which is almost double the amount of Tierney in that sense. And that's where Arteta wants to mold us. That's why you see when we lose the ball in the opposition's half, we press quickly. We don't sit back, retreat, and try and get 2 blocks of 4. That's what we want. And that's someone, as you said, Igal, can cover that central position if we are moving out on that right and can win the ball back in those areas. So I'm quite impressed with that.
Okay. I'm just going to say this. I had myself I'm a very emotional person, so it's up and down when it comes to transfers, right? Zinchenko is one that I haven't wavered on. From when we were first linked to him till now, I said this is a good signing. And the reason why I say that is his versatility, the potential, getting another player who is a Premier League winner and bringing that experience into our team. This is a guy who's won 4 Premier Leagues, guys, and how many trophies throughout his time. And forget about everything else that I've just mentioned. When it comes to leadership, we need more leaders in this team. We need more people who are captains in the dressing room. And this is a captain for his club. Sorry, not his club, his country. And I think this will definitely improve us. I'm not going to say tenfold, but it's going to improve us and improve the level of quality we have in the squad. And that is the main thing I take away from this. The price, not for 1 second am I looking at the price and saying, no, because I understood Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, they don't need to sell them. So whatever they said, we're going to have to pay to a certain degree to get the player over the line. But yeah, any qualms with this deal, any negatives? Because I can't see any at this point, besides the fact that he's coming from Man City to Arsenal, and the difference in quality, you could maybe see a different performance in him. That's it.
No, as long as, like I said before, we still bring him in a midfielder, then I'm Gucci with it. But I also think as fans, we're now it's harder when you're a little bit older and you've been watching football for a little bit longer in terms of seeing how money has now evolved in football. Because I think fans are so used to, especially at clubs like Arsenal, where the purse strings have been quite tight. We're kind of living in a new world where, 35 million is not what it was 7 years ago, and clubs have so much more money. Like all of the top, even Tottenham are spent. Like Levy's known for being tight. Everyone's spending in the excesses of 100 million. So I no longer worry myself around pricing. So I think fans we kind of need to get out of that habit. How much they spend on a player is not my business, as long as they do all the business they need to do.
Exactly.
110%.
And
guys, go ahead.
Yeah, just last point. If he fails, then we're going no matter if we buy him for 1 million, it's too much. If we buy him for 10, you know what I mean?
How is he going to fail when he potentially could be playing in two positions? So even if he doesn't do well in one position, you could still play him in the other position, and we'll see a performance in that position. And right now, the way Xhaka plays in that left midfield role, that's perfectly suited to him.
Exactly. And that's how Manchester City have their versatility. We look at them and say, they've got so many options. It's not actually that. They don't actually use that many first team players, but because they're all so versatile and can cover so many different areas of the pitch, like a Bernardo Silva, like a Phil Foden, like a De Bruyne, they play in 3 positions minimum. And that's why João Cancelo, etc. So yeah, man, it's more attack, it's more depth as well, because he can play those 2 positions. But on the last part, Colleen's right. We need that other central midfielder. Don't just sign him and say, we're sorted for 2 positions now.
Okay, let me show you guys this. According to Gunner Blog, Lucas Paqueta is not currently a focus for Arsenal after they've recently signed Fabio Vieira, right? Although we admire the player, right? They're still hoping to sell Nicolas Pepe. We're going to discuss that later and sign a Rafinha alternative. Grimaldo is not a target. So as you can see right there, Grimaldo is not a target for the club. So that is another thing that we were going to talk about later on the show. I just seen that. I didn't even notice that. But yeah, so what do we think about this part right here? Lucas Paqueta is not a focus for Arsenal. After hearing all these links about Paqueta and everyone doing the dance comps or the Brazilian dance comps and everything, now coming out that he's not a focus for the club and we're not prioritizing this signing. I kind of felt like this. I always felt like he could end up at Newcastle, similar to Bruno Guimaraes, where we weren't as interested as reported. But what do you guys think?
I mean, on the last stream with you, Gal, I said I don't see us signing 2 midfielders, especially at the beginning. I said if another midfielder's going to come in, it's probably going to be at the latter part of the window. To be honest, I imagined Arsenal getting a player in priority-wise in each position, and I think the best case scenario is getting 2 midfielders in. We wouldn't go out for 2 midfielders straight out the gate in these early stages still. I didn't think that was the case. But the other part, one of the articles I didn't really agree with, where it said we're still hopeful of Pepe leaving to sign another winger, because we were already aggressive with Rafinha. It just didn't work out in terms of Chelsea and then Barcelona. Whether Pepe stays or goes, judging by how aggressive we just were, we're bringing in a winger regardless if he's there or not.
We're gonna talk about Pepe because I don't know if you've seen the Snapchat tweet that I did, but like we're gonna talk about that in a bit. But what about yourself, bro? Tariq, did you ever feel like we were gonna get the Lucas Paqueta deal over the line, or did you feel like it was just more fans getting excited over the potential of the signing?
Look, there might be interest from Arsenal and Paqueta, but with how Leon and then Jean-Michel Aulas there. You know how he's a dodgy businessman in terms of that. Well, he's not even dodgy in that sense. It's the fact that he demands so much for his players. We're going to have to overpay. We saw the Houssem Aouar situation as Arsenal fans. We even seen it with Lacazette. We wanted Lacazette for like 2 years before we signed him. So he's a very difficult person to do business with. And with Lucas Paqueta's stock, the highest it's ever been, I don't see it being a viable option. I don't think we're going to splash as much. I don't think we see him like as much, as highly as the fans do, as the club. I don't think that's the case.
Okay. Now, just before we go any further, Colleen, you said something about Pepe. Have you not seen the reports of Pepe potentially being sold? There is not only one club, not 2 clubs, not 3 clubs, but 4 clubs potentially after the potential signing of Nicolas Pepe, as reported yesterday. Hence why it is interesting timing for him to be tweeting or having Snapchats conversations with fans about this. Leeds were one of the clubs that were heavily interested in him. And if I'm not mistaken, Sevilla actually put 15 million on the table to try to sign him. You also had Marseille, who now want to sign every Arsenal player after how successful it was with Matteo Guendouzi. And if I'm not mistaken, the final club is Lyon, Sevilla, Leeds, Marseille. Yeah, so those are the 4 clubs. And this was reported yesterday. So I'm not sure. Have you guys not seen this? I'm confused. Like,
no,
you don't seem like you think he's gonna leave.
No, I mean, I'm not as confident because I'm not saying he shouldn't go. I think he does need to go for himself as well. It's more who's going to pay that kind of wages, like those kind of clubs on the table. Are they going to pay those kind of wages? Is he willing to take a big pay cut essentially from what he's on? And how much are Arsenal thinking to recoup of our record signing over 70 million and getting 15 million in return? I know we're a bit crap in terms of selling players at times, but I just don't see that running. I don't think he goes unless a decent deal is on the table. And to be fair, I think 15 million, as poor or not as high expectations Nicolas Pepe has been for us, he hasn't been that poor. I think 15 million is a bit of a joke. And I don't think Arsenal sell him for that price.
Let me just say this, guys. We have 104 people in the chat right now. Do me a favor. Hit that like button. I got a great panel today. We're going to be talking about everything. So show some support. Hit that like button. And if you want, send some super chats in if you like. You don't have to if you can't afford it, though, of course. Do me a favor. Hit that like button. And let's get on to this. So just to give you guys the clarity on what I was speaking about, so it doesn't seem like I made this up. Sevilla are interested in Nicolas Pepe. They have contacted his agent. The player's wages and transfer fee will have to be reduced. As Colleen, you just literally hit the nail on the head right there. It will have to be reduced if the move was to go through. He's wanted by Leeds, Marseille, and Lyon, and 25 million is the asking price for Arsenal. Sevilla are offering 15 million plus add-ons, as reported by whatever this company is, Seville newspaper. Okay, so yeah, what are you saying, Tyreek? What do you think about this?
A good thing is, with the amount of clubs interested, maybe we can start our own bidding more. We've been used in Martinez and Rafinha by the selling clubs to create a bidding war and drive up the price. So potentially, maybe we won't get 25 million that it seems like as fans that we want, and probably what the club do want as well, but somewhere close to that figure. So Sevilla are seriously interested in paying that money, in 15 million. Then another, if you can say to another team, this is what Sevilla want him for, we might think about it or reject it, or whatever you do, just to try and just let the other clubs know. But my biggest issue, Colleen said it as well, in terms of the player wages, not each one of those teams aren't going to offer a similar amount of wages, because just sheerly the amount of money that the differential in the Premier League and English clubs to the European clubs, the amount of money around there and what the pandemic has caused. So that might be the sticking point. If those teams are genuinely interested, that's a good, that's something to be excited about if you're Arsenal in terms of selling. But then it still has to come to the player. And if he sees a different destination and he says, like a Rafinha, I want to go there, I don't want to go anywhere else, the player still has control in that decision. And I'm worried about the wages being the problem more than the clubs.
Just before you go, Colleen, this might be the question of the day. Do you guys see Pepe leaving Arsenal this summer?
I don't know. There's still a long way to go. I don't think enough of an interest has been stirred up, to be honest with you. But I wouldn't be too griped if he stayed. If he's happy to be a squad player and we still bring in if he's happy to be a squad player and we still bring another winger in, then okay, he can he likes to do bits in the Europa League. Now we're back in it, so in the group stages he can whip out a couple free kicks again. But at the minute, don't see it.
Okay, what about yourself?
Right now, currently, being as we're not linked to anyone serious in that right wing, I wouldn't mind keeping him. I wouldn't mind it because you know once again with Pepe, the problem is he fluctuating performances. I want someone who's a bit more consistent, gives me a higher base level, and even if it means that they don't reach the same heights that Pepe can with the ability that he has, I'll take that. But other than unless we got linked with someone similar like a Rafinha again, or then I would say see you later, Pepe, because that's an upgrade on that position. Whereas for now, the players that I'm seeing me linked with, that the ones that haven't been serious, are they a true upgrade? I'm not sure, so I wouldn't mind keeping him for that reason.
I think with the factor that there's 4 clubs interested in Pepe, I could see him leaving. But what changed my mind was yesterday's stuff. The stuff that I seen yesterday. It almost seemed like he was pouring his heart out to some of the fans in these messages and photos and Snapchats that he took. Just to show you guys some of the Snapchats on what I'm talking about. 1 second, let me just show you guys what I'm talking about. So this was one of the Snapchats where he's saying, we love you, Nico. Find yourself again. Proper Arsenal fans appreciate you. You have another one here saying, I always appreciate you, the way you play, skillful, positive, bags. We want you to bag this year or something like that. Basically, in giving him encouragement and talking. You don't see stuff like this from Pepe, in my opinion, often. You see him respond to fans, but not like this. Please don't leave. We love you. He's putting out hints that he might be staying at the club, in my opinion. And then you have this one here where he goes in and says, I know you are a very good player. Believe in yourself. Continue to play hard. And look at that. I can't see that final word. What is this?
Better days ahead.
Better days ahead. So in my opinion, these are hints that the player might want to stay. But I don't know. What do you guys think? A lot of people on social media don't agree with me that these are hints, but I think definitely hints that he might want to stay or he potentially will stay.
I mean, again, if no one's matching the wages, why is he going to want to go? Because he can't, if we're being honest, he can't be happy with the role he played last season. He was kind of insignificant. He had, he wasn't playing much, sub, and it wasn't great. If he believes in his own ability, if he's got that ego about him, like a lot of footballers have, he might have that ego to be like, no, I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to prove my worth here at a club like Arsenal. But, if it's like those kind of clubs that you mentioned, if they're not coming anywhere near close his wages and that kind of level, I think he'd probably see himself as like maybe somewhere. Yeah, I just can't see it materializing. I think more needs to happen for that deal to go through. I think it'd be a hard deal if he was to go. I think the process of negotiating and things like that happens now, because I can see this one being a long one. It's not going to be a simple sell.
Okay, people are talking about Gnabry a lot, but now there's a new Gnabry. If you guys don't know, Leroy Sane, potentially another former Man City player that we could bring to the Emirates. The links to Leroy Sane are quite weak. They're quite weak. They are from a German publication, but shamelessly, I'm plugging my own Twitter, just to show you guys. So there you go. You got Bill here. They're saying Arsenal are one of those clubs interested in Leroy Sane. Bayern want around 70 million euros. That's similar to what we were going to pay for Rafinha. But his wages, I'm hearing, might be I don't know how much his wages are at Bayern, but what do you guys think about the potential signing of Leroy Sane? I think that would be a great signing. He'd fit in perfectly. He would play on the left, though. Who's going to play on the right as cover for Saka if we need it? We'll have to see, but I would definitely take him in a heartbeat. I think he's a quality player.
Yeah, I do think he's quality, but I mean, if we're just going to talk about the player, he can play on the right as well. We've seen him in his best days play out on the left at City when you had Raheem Sterling out right, Sane out left, and Aguero down the middle. That was when City were firing. They was hitting 7-8 goals in a season at that point. And that was where they were Centurion. So Sane is good. Big G's says it right there. Sane is good, but his injury record.
Is it that bad? No, it's not.
Well, he had that big knee injury, didn't he, at Man City just before he left, where he had that whole season put out, really.
So he had the 200 days, the knee injury, and since then he's only had 2 injuries since 2020. Since
that's not bad. That's not bad.
Since he left Man City, he's only had 2 injuries in 2 years.
Yeah, well, that's not bad. That one's a bit long though. That 23 days one, but you know, it's not.
100%. But 2 injuries in 2 years. If Kieran Tierney had 2 injuries in 2 years, we would have got top 4 back-to-back years.
True, that's a good point.
So,
But yeah, it's just interest. It's not going to happen, but I would love it.
No, that's what it is. Majority of the stuff in the transfer window is never going to happen, but we still have to talk about it. Colleen, not going to happen. You just want to move on?
Oh, I have nothing to contribute apart from it's not happening. Same with the Gnabry one. We spoke about it before. It's not going to happen. So, that's it.
Okay. Let's talk about something that is happening that came out of nowhere. A shock transfer for a current Arsenal Academy youngster leaving Arsenal. This is a guy who's been at the club since he's 7 years old. You guys seen pictures of him in an Arsenal kit at 7 doing those fancy dribbles back in the day. What do you think about the whole situation with that with the youngster? His name, Omari Hutchinson. Even Fabrizio Romano confirming that it's done. I seen it on Fabrizio's thing also. So at first, I didn't trust the source. I'm like, who's this source? Like, what is this? This sounds like one of those ITK accounts. But the fact that everyone was liking it and everyone was sharing it, I was like, there has to be some level of truth to this. But then when you have Fabrizio Romano co-signing the source and quoting him, you're like, now you know it's real. Chelsea have signed another youngster this season, and it's Arsenal Academy youngster Omari Hutchinson. He's their new signing. He's set to join them for the under in the under 23s this season. So he's set to join their under 23s. Contract talks with Arsenal collapsed, and rumors having it that he wasn't actually in training for the last couple of days before they went to America. So there you go. Omari Hutchinson, Arsenal youngster, headed to Chelsea. Kind of came out of nowhere. You can banter us if you want, but it's not really something that moves the needle for either club. He's a youngster. We'll see where he goes. But guys, hit that like button right now and let me know what you think about this situation. You got Chelsea fans going crazy over this, but to me, it's sad to see him go, but he's not going to move the needle. We already signed Marquinhos. We have youngsters playing in his position, and it's sad to see him go, but hey, what are you going to do? Best of luck to him. Just before you guys go, I'm going to end it here. I don't believe this is a good move in the sense that if you're going to make a move from Arsenal, why are you picking Chelsea, a team that's notoriously known for not giving chances to players in the first team? Mm-hmm. And you might get a good opportunity to get loans elsewhere, but to come to Chelsea over and leave Arsenal, what could they offer you that we can't offer you? And before you say Champions League, he's not playing in the Champions League this season for them, regardless. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Colleen, you want to go on this?
I mean, I've seen a little bit of him for the under-23s, and he's a top talent, to be fair. But we're kind of at a stage now, especially with Haaland, that we've kind of revived it a little bit, and there's a lot of great talents there. And we don't know why the talks broke down, but it might be one that we kick ourselves with. It might not be, but Chelsea must have some sort of project for him because, like you've just said, Chelsea are notoriously known for not really being one to bring through their academy players. But it's a new ownership now. Maybe they're going in a different direction. Who knows? But
I'm disgusted.
He actually was, prior to being here at 7, he was like, when he was much younger, he was even at Chelsea. So yeah, there's a few pictures of him at the academy. But it's sad to see him go, but we won't know if it's going to be a mistake until further down the line.
Yeah. I think Europa League is where Arsenal youngsters have made their name and bread and butter. So in the fact that we're in the Europa League this season and he doesn't see an opportunity to play, and let me just give you guys another curveball. He's another Kia Jarapkin agent player. That might have
and that's it you go. And like this is with Omari's had such like hype ever since he broke through. I remember seeing like a BBC article when he was like 13 about him, about his talent and the skill that he possesses. And that's what he does. When I've seen little flashes of him for the under-23s, he has looked impressive in that sense. But when it comes with youngsters, it's a shame that we're not going to see him play for the Arsenal first team. We're not going to see him get a run out. We're not going to see him potentially make that. Eddie Nketiah, remember, when he played his first game, 2 goals against Norwich in the Carabao Cup. And I know it hasn't really kicked on since, but until last season, that's when we saw him. And then Bukayo Saka, when he came through, none of us really even knew about him too much unless it was a keen eye on the academy. But then on the other hand, if you look at Reece Nelson, who was probably one of the best players through England at his age bracket at one time, ridiculous levels he was shown in the under-23s. And when he came in under Arsene Wenger playing at wing back in the Europa League against like Bate Borisov, he looked, this looked like a serious player, but it didn't work out. So that's why as fans, we can't get too angry about these things because you don't know how it's going to play out and you don't know what's kind of happened behind the scenes. As you said, Igal, Kia Jarapchkin, he could be asking for demands like of wages or playing time that just probably doesn't balance out where he's at currently in his career at the moment. But we'll wait and see. It is a shame.
Yeah. Colin, you have anything else to say on this, or you want to just move on to the real contract that we care about right now, Saka's? Because this is the youngster we can't afford to lose, in my opinion. If we lose Bukayo Saka, it's a lot more detrimental to our first team than of course, an academy player. And that's just the reality. I'm not even trying to do cover up or anything. Of course, it's unfortunate that the youngster has chosen to go to Chelsea, but hey, let him do his thing. Arsenal is currently in talks with Bukayo Saka over a contract extension. Fabrizio Romano reporting that, one second, he might regret it. You're right. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys, as you guys are still watching. We have 105 people in the chat, and we only have, we only have 61 likes. You guys could easily get us over 100 likes. Come on, do that. Bukayo Saka's contract extension has been a priority for Arsenal. Talks still ongoing with his agent in order to reach an agreement over a long-term deal. Bukayo Saka is happy with the project at Arsenal and discussing his salary terms. So yeah, nothing really new there. Nothing really new. We already knew this. I'll tell you guys this. Bukayo Saka has asked for release clause in the past. He has asked for ridiculous wages. I've heard reports of 125, 150, and even recently reports of 200K per week. I honestly don't care exactly how much money he gets at this moment in time. I'm not someone who's going to care about his pocket. But one thing I will say is just get the deal done. Don't make it ridiculous because you don't want a Callum Hudson-Odoi situation where the player is dismotivated. But I don't think even Saka's that kind of guy. But yeah, Colleen, what do you think about this whole situation with the Saka contract?
I mean, provided I've got two thoughts now. I think he signs anyway, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of all these. I'm never a big fan of release clauses that are, you either have them that are kind of super realistic, that are probably realistic for a big club, or you have like the Barca kind where it's like 1 billion or something ridiculous. I don't like release clauses. But I think all the sound has been good. He likes the project. He loves Arsenal, gets on with Arteta. All sounds really good. This, what I'm next about to say, it doesn't come from anything I've seen online. It's just my own feeling or gut feeling, or maybe I've just got PTSD from Arsenal in the past. But with the amount of sales City are doing, I feel like something's brewing. Whether it's Saka, I don't know, or someone else. There's a lot of outs over there. It makes me feel like a big in is coming. And right now, I don't see Arsenal, even if they were to bid for him this summer, Arsenal are not going to sell him this summer. But that's my only concern. I'd rather, until it's done, I'm still going to have this concern. But I've just got a bit of an eye on City and how much they're shipping out. Like I said, I've not heard this anywhere, anything like that. It's just my own kind of putting two and two together. So I'll get 4 or 100. So I hope I get 100 out of that equation, and it's not going to happen. But I think he signs those, to be fair.
City are serious about getting Saka. Could they get him this window? They view him as a Raheem Sterling replacement. So maybe it is potentially possible. And rumors coming out that Arsenal are ramping up their efforts to tie down Bukayo Saka on a long-term contract because of Man City identifying him. So you're not wrong, Colleen. Once again, spot on with your analysis of the situation. It definitely is a factor in why we are trying to ramp up our deal. And this came out today from another journalist from the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail seemed to be on point with Arsenal news today. It's kind of crazy. And also Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez is getting a new contract also in the meanwhile. But yeah, what are you saying, Tyreek? Are you worried?
You're getting me worried. My anxiety levels are going up because I actually do agree. Even with the thoughts, when you're looking at Man City and the rumors about Bernardo Silva potentially leaving as well. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There is something brewing there. I'm just hoping that it's not Bukayo Saka and it's not anywhere to do with Arsenal. That's what I'm looking at. Bellingham, Rafael Leao, whoever you want, Europe's top talent. Look at them. Bukayo Saka, he's one of them, and I don't want him to be that one. I'm a bit worried. You know how much I love Saka, EG. So, and how important he is. You've seen him on that right. We're struggling to find someone to even level him in those positions and pay the right amount of money for that. So, yeah, when we're looking at Bukayo Saka, I think if he signs a contract of 100, in anywhere between 100 and 200k, that's fine. That's fine for him. The levels he's hit, the maturity he has shown in under pressure and big moments for England as well. Let's not forget for his nation. And of course, we saw it in on the final, but let's not forget the semi-final where he got the assist for that moment, Harry Kane. So I'm worried if City do come in. Will it happen this season though? I don't think so. It just depends on what happens at this point next season. If Arsenal aren't in the Champions League and aren't showing levels of progression, then he might look elsewhere.
You know what? In a year's time, if we're still in the situation we're in, I wouldn't be surprised if he left. But right now, I still think it's too early. It's too much unfinished business right now.
Yeah.
Moving on to Youri Tielemans. This is just a quick little update. By the way, guys, if you don't already know, the house sale thing was capped. It wasn't his house. He rents from the club. So the club sold the house and they're buying closer houses to the new training ground. So he's not actually moved houses, and they are now willing to reduce the price for Youri Tielemans. So this is positive news. We now could get him for cheaper. This is what the club wanted. So I think this is a win-win for us.
I think that's what it is, yeah. When we look at Arsenal and how they're managing this situation, in Leicester, they don't have a position of strength. They're not like Manchester City, where they could let a player run down. And, with the amount of money that Man City have and the finances and the players that they have coming through, and Leicester aren't in that situation. So if they're going to try and get any money out of him, they're going to have to sell this summer. And that's why Tielemans and Arsenal seem like they have been called on it, which is why I've been waiting for this one. And even if this one gets signed after the season started, I'm okay with that one, just as long as we sign a central midfielder at some point. It's a necessity for the season, but is it a necessity before September? I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see, because of course there's other situations that are playing out. But yeah,
I hear you. We got a Leicester fan in the chat saying BS, and we got another Arsenal fans getting worried about the Tielemans deal. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button right now and let us know your thoughts about the Tielemans deal. But before we continue, Colleen, what do you think about the news that Tielemans deal might be cheaper now?
I mean, my thoughts haven't changed since we last spoke about it on your stream. I find the whole thing very peculiar, to be honest with you. I just think that I can understand the point of view that maybe it's a less of a priority to get him in now, kind of like Tariq said, in terms of, if he comes in after the beginning of the season, it's not too bad. But it just seems like one it's been spoken about for a long time. It seems relatively easy. He's got a year left. It doesn't seem like he's going to sign an extension. So it just makes me think that, is there someone else that we're trying to get who might be a top priority that's not come out yet? In terms of to your Romanos and Ornsteins and things like that, because it just seems like one we could have just wrapped up, to be fair. It didn't seem like it was going to take a lot. So I'm not mad if he does come. If he is our priority, main focus, sure, take your time, whatever, if he's, but I don't know. I'm still not really buying what I'm being sold here. I think there's someone else who might be taking the mainframe. If we don't get that person, it'll be Tielemans. It was similar to how we are with Zinni. After Martinez was out, straight away Zinchenko's in. So I don't know. I think it's one to watch what goes on around that central midfield, to be honest with you.
I find it strange that you're just so comfortable saying Zinni. Like it's like
he's already here now in Cleveland. Yeah. That's what it is.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. We've gone through the Tielemans stuff so much. You can check it out. As Colleen said, we've spoken about this so much on numerous shows. It is a frustrating deal, but have some level of patience, because Arsenal have been working on this deal for well over almost a year now. This right here is a weird one. Colleen, you were talking about this before the show. Tapsoba doesn't go away. You keep getting linked to center backs. We keep getting linked to center backs, and this one is a weird one because he's a right-footed center back, if I'm not mistaken. He's not left-footed like some of the other players we're linked to. This was who Edu viewed as. This was viewed as a potential Edu signing in the summer last year. And instead of getting Ben White, this is the guy we potentially wanted to sign. So I don't know what to think about this. What do you think, Colleen?
I mean, there's so many thoughts in terms of this. So there's obviously rumors about Gabriel. I'm not even giving that the light of day. He's not going anywhere. Is it because we're trying to get rid of Holding and how sometimes we do like to go into a back five? Is it because it's now five substitutions and we're now in more competitions and we want more competition for our centre backs? I'm not really mad at it. If he comes in, he's young, seems quite talented, but as long as it's not at the expense of Saliba, White, or Gabriel, I don't mind. Because we are more, but it's a bit.
You know, Terry could be right. We could have wanted Martinez as a center back. Who knows? You never know. But in my opinion, if we're looking at these center backs, somebody must be leaving. Could it be Saliba? Probably not, because Saliba came out today with I don't know if you guys seen it, but literally like a couple hours ago, there was a bunch of PR coming out around Saliba. Could it be that Holding's leaving? I would welcome the Holding to leave, but why would we then sign another center back for around 40 to 50 million euros? Does it make sense, Tariq?
No, it doesn't. And this is my theory. This isn't based off anything I've seen, so don't take it, if anyone in the chat, don't take it as gospel. But I know this is a fact with football clubs. They are interested in so many players. So they are ready, and this is what top teams do, for any situation. So we don't know what may happen with Gabriel in a year's time, but they will sound out their interest to a player and a player's agent in a situation where, right, we're covered in this position right now, but we are keeping an eye on you. We like you as a player. If your situation, if anything changes, we'll be prepared to make it. We'll be prepared to go deeper. So it's just sounding out their interests at the moment, planting little seeds into players' heads. The best football clubs do that. That's why when Liverpool are selling Sadio Mane, they would have been in contact with Darwin Núñez a lot earlier than we would have known. Haaland would have been in contact with Manchester City from an early stage as well. That's what they do, even in a situation where they didn't necessarily need a player in that position. So I think with Arsenal being interested in players in all over the pitch is just in case something changes further down the line. Not necessarily this transfer window, could be the next, could be however long he's at Bayer Leverkusen for, I believe. So yeah, nothing to worry about, I don't think, for any Arsenal fans.
I'm not trying to piss off Colleen, but Colleen, we have to talk about this Gabriel Magalhaes to Juventus thing. Let's be honest. There has to be some legs behind it, because they keep coming back. These rumors keep coming back. It could be the Italian side. From what I've heard, Gabriel Magalhaes is open to stay at Arsenal. He doesn't seem like he wants to leave. He's happy to stay at Arsenal. He's happy. He just got a baby. He's gotten married. He's settling down a new life with his family. And moving right now is not something that's 100% on his mind. But of course, Juventus playing the Champions League. Juventus is a big club. They're in Italy. So it's always a possibility. They look at him and view him as a potential signing replacement for De Ligt, if De Ligt was to leave. And with the potential links to him and Arsenal, I don't know if you guys know this, but we now have been linked to a plethora of center backs. We've already mentioned Tapsoba, right? And I'm now going to show you guys the link with Tapsoba. Then you have 3 other potential signings that we've been also linked to also. Some of them are left backs, but some of them are center backs. This is a center back who Man City, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Tottenham have all looked at. He would cost around 80 million euros. Reported 20-year-old currently playing at RB Leipzig, a very highly touted player. And he's another one of those guys who's very versatile. If you see, he can play left back and center back. He's played a lot of games at left back in his career also. Then you have reports coming out from Ukraine, where we might be interested in Shakhtar Donetsk center back, another guy who's very versatile. He's played all over the place in his career. He's played right back, left back, center back. He's played everywhere, right? So these reports don't go away, guys, and it's starting to make me think there has to be some truth to it.
I don't see Gabriel going. That doesn't mean Juventus won't put in a bid or try to, especially if De Ligt goes. But there's a few factors that make me think even if he were to go, it wouldn't be this summer. Firstly, he was like one of Arteta's first signings. He's like, I don't see us in the middle of this process that we're meant to be in, removing such a key figure at this stage. I just don't see that being in Arsenal's or Arteta's thinking. It's a World Cup year that comes much earlier this time. Now, I know a lot of footballers do have a big ego. They believe in themselves and whatnot. Fair enough. But it's almost a bit of a risk for him to go to a whole new league, a whole new team, when you've got about 4 or 5 months for him to make sure he's in that Brazil centre-back, airing each game week. So it seems a bit risky for me for him to do that. I just don't think it would just be too big of a risk. And I think he's such an important player at Arsenal that it just wouldn't make sense. Now, if he was told, okay, Saliba's coming in for your position or something like that. So if he was told that, you're not definitely guaranteed or just given some sort of error of doubt in terms of where he fits in this Arsenal squad, that's the only reason I'd see him go this year. Even if Juventus put in a bid because of the reasons I just said, I just don't see Arsenal accepting.
Yeah. Just before you go, Tariq, I'm just going to respond to some comments. People saying Igal's reading reports from every unreliable source. You know what? We can only take what information we're given. And also, Gamardo, seems like that's off the table, my friend. It's not happening anymore. Reports coming out from Gunner Blog saying that is not on the table. We spoke about it earlier in the show, actually. But Tariq, talk to me, man. All these center backs we're linked to. Do you think it's Gabriel's leaving?
I think with Matviyenko and the Gvardiol one, the left-sided centre-backs who you can play at left-back as well. That's more like Martinez cover. Or that Arsenal might have sounded at an interest, and then reports and journalists are thinking, this player suits this type of profile. Let's link him with Arsenal because it makes sense. That's what journalists and certain outlets like to do. They like to jump the gun because they see this player can play centre back and left back. That's like Martinez, and Arsenal have been interested previously. Let's try and make that happen. So I don't think those, but Gabriel's not going anywhere. I don't think so this summer. And Colleen has put a great point about the World Cup, which is a big factor why I think we've got Gabriel Jesus as well, because he wants an important role to break into that national side for Brazil, cement his place, because he's got Richarlison on his shoulder, that's why that move doesn't really make much sense in that case for the short term. Long term, of course, is a bit different. But yeah, I'm not worried about that. The only thing that would really attract Gabriel right now, I know he's going through a little bit of transition with the hair, and he's closer to Turkey in that sense. If he's in the maybe.
Okay. Just before we wrap up, just quick question: do you guys believe any of these rumors around? Someone said Onana. You have Conte, you have Milinkovic Savic rumors. Some of these rumors, they're just all cap, in my opinion. I don't believe them. Obviously, we already know about Gnabry, cap. We know about if you see links to Diaby from he's linked to Newcastle now. So I don't know if we're going to go for him. But yeah, SMS are just rumors. Yeah, I fully agree. I think those are all cap. I don't think there's any truth to it. There's no point of even speaking about it. Now that we're getting Zinchenko, or Zini as you like to call it, is there even a point of talking about Sergio Gomez? Because we're looking at this Anderlecht left back. I don't know if you guys seen it. Let me show you guys. Close your eyes for a second and just realize this guy plays in every position in his whole career. He played like, imagine that. We're signing a guy who's played everywhere in his career. And when I say everywhere, he's played like a lot of games in those positions also, right? This report is not from an unreliable source this time. It's from Fabrizio Romano himself, saying Arsenal are exploring the options of a new left back from Anderlecht, Sergio Gomez, and Zinchenko. But now that Zinchenko seems like he's the main guy, I don't think it's possible. But even if you look at his numbers, this guy is very attacking as a left back. And if you look at his heat map, what the hell? Like, literally hugging that touchline, going ham on that touchline. I don't know. Seems like an alternative to Zinchenko. Doesn't seem like we're gonna get him if we do get Zinchenko, but he's an interesting player. And I seen some people in the comments talking about it, so I just wanted to touch on it, just to show you guys this guy is an absolute baller. Like, obviously, you don't want comps to ruin your mentality of a player, but hey,
I'm not one to discriminate against height for people, but he's 5'6" as a left back. I don't think that's big. That's like big enough in the Premier League.
Bro, what is this, Love Island?
Yeah. See, I know. See, females out there, when they're looking at men, they do discriminate on height a lot. Thankfully, I'm not one of them, despite I may look short on this camera. But anyways, yeah, he's a left back though. He's a left back, so he's going to be dealing with a lot of aerial duels, and that's my problem with Grimaldo. I'm sorry to say that, Cam. He's 5'7", so he's an inch taller. That's why it wasn't working out, which is why I said Lasandro Martinez as a left back, that's fine because of those situations. But as a centre back, that's where the questions are going to pose in the Premier League. So I'm not too sure.
Boom. So yeah, pretty much finished all the everything that we spoke about there. There's nothing else really to talk about. Is there anything that I might have missed? Because I do miss stuff sometimes, but like, I feel like I've touched on every single topic. Is there any other links? Martinez is going to United. There's no point in talking about him. We already spoke about him earlier. Grimaldo, people already spoke about him. Everyone always talks about Gnabry. Guys, get that out of your head. Gnabry's not happening. He's signing a new contract with his current club. Is there anything else, guys? Or am I tripping? I'm just trying to...
You fit everything. There we go. Even parts that I never even knew. So,
just to show you guys quickly, Saliba spoke. I don't know if you guys seen it just before we went live. Saliba did an interview with Arsenal. I think you guys should go watch it. It's a really good interview. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know where it's coming from.
You see the difference between, and as you do, of course, wherever you go, because obviously it's a hot property in France, and they want him in the French league. So when we were hearing lots of interviews and things like that, it getting translated, it was all a bit negative. But then when you hear him speak for Arsenal, it's very clear. And, you know, he's meant to be signing an extension, so, you know, it's fine.
Yeah. He said, me and Arteta spoke on Monday. William Saliba, it's important that the fans are behind you, and I like it very much. I can't wait to get back to them. We and Arteta, we spoke a little bit on Monday, and we'll speak more. Main plan is to fight and work with the team and win as much as possible and grow more. So he's saying all the right things, guys. He's saying all the right things. He's ready to work. When I was on loan, I was watching every single Arsenal game, because when I was there, some players weren't. I watch the games. I see how we play. So when I get back, I would be easier to play with those and I had met before. Saliba's ready, man. He's definitely ready to go. And then what was the last thing that I seen? Saliba on he's learned life in our. Sorry, 1 second. Saliba on if he learned about Arsenal life in 2020 preseason. I learned a lot. Now focus on the present and the future, which is the most important. So there you go. Saliba saying all the right things. What more do you want from a guy to say? He's saying everything. He's saying all the right things. Hopefully this isn't just PR and he ends up leaving, because we've seen that before. But I'm very happy to see Saliba back in the Arsenal kit. And also, if you don't know, Colleen and Tariq, they're finally comfortably showing pictures of Thomas Partey on the Arsenal website. So I'm hopeful that whole saga is behind us, hopefully. And we don't have to worry about that issue anymore. But yeah, anything that you guys want to say before we go? Shout out to you guys for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Always, Colleen, Tariq, big up to you guys for coming on. Really do appreciate it. Tariq's link to his channel is actually in the description. If you guys just click on it, you can see it there. And did you want to say anything, Tariq, before we go?
It's just a pleasure to be back on. It's been a while. EG, when was it? A few weeks back.
Bro, yeah. We were still chasing Rafinha when you were back on.
Yeah, that's true. And Martinez as well. Yeah. Guys, I know it's kind of gone downhill in terms of those signings, and that's not the reason. It's all good. Enjoying the summer, and yeah, Love Island as well.
There you go. I think they're doing the phone booths today or VAR reviews. What are you saying, Colin? You got anything to say before we go?
Not particularly, but yeah, I'm glad to be back on all the shows again as the transfer window starts heating up, as we edge closer to the start of the season. So let's hope in about a month's time we're in a better position in the market and we have more positives to talk about.
And
Boom.
Speaking of transfer windows heating up, I don't know what you guys are doing on Monday. Seriously, it's 39 in London, isn't it?
Oh.
39 degrees.
Yeah. That, and on Tuesday it's going up to 40 degrees.
I'm gonna be in Birmingham, so I don't know. Do you?
Are you local? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Birmingham, so I'm gonna go see family in Birmingham because my wife left me. I'm home alone. I'm probably gonna get bored, so I might as well go to Birmingham, see some family. But yeah, you guys have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. Big up to every single one of you guys in the chat. The ongoing Pate saga, it's gonna be like the Cell saga. We won't know what's gonna happen till the end, but you guys have yourselves a wonderful day.